Welcome to Living Out Loud with Laura. I am Laura. On this episode, we are chatting with Robyn Lawrence. And if you don't know that name, I'm telling you right now, it's an important name to know, and you are going to want to know it. She is the first openly transgender individual running for office in Lake County, Florida. And I could not be more excited to have her on the show today to be able to chat with her. She embodies so much of what's important for me. Obviously, as everybody knows here, I have a trans adult daughter named Ruth, who I love so much, who she left the state of Florida because of bad policies in the state of Florida. There would be nothing more that I would love than to be able to get my daughter to become able to come back to the state of Florida. She won't even visit, like, at all. I haven't seen her since she left. So on Zoom, I see her, just not in person. So that is why this conversation today with Robyn touches my heart to me so much. It's just so near and dear to me. So first, I want to welcome Robyn. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here today. And let's start by you telling our guests, just our viewers, you're the guest. Brain fog, y'all, brain fog. Our viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself so they can know Robyn.
Well, thank you for having me. I am so excited to do this. I've been waiting and waiting to do this. So this is exciting. So I grew up in a little town in Indiana. And yeah, right?
Yeah, like I get so much more interested. Ooh, Indiana, okay.
I grew up in a little town in Indiana called Kokomo. No, it's not what the song is about. The Beach Boys song, not that one.
You can tell.
Went to school there all my life, pretty much. My parents went back and forth between Kokomo, Indiana, and Dalton, Georgia. Okay. So I did grow up a little bit in the South. And when I say went back and forth, we went on a Greyhound bus, which is not the best traveling in the world. But anyway,
I did that when I was 4 and 5 from Florida to California, so I know. Mm-hmm.
So when I was 11 years old, my mom and my dad divorced. And so then it was my mom, one of my sisters, and my 2 brothers. And we were all in just an apartment. And she was on what they called food stamps at the time. Now I think it's called SNAP, right?
Or EBT.
Or EBT. And then we had Aid for Dependent Children, AFDC. And these are a lot of old terms for older people.
Yes, they are. we're showing our age right this moment.
Right?
We're so young.
We were having a hard time surviving because my dad didn't pay child support. He married a woman that had the same name as my mom. So he wrote her the child support checks and had proof he was paying, but he really wasn't. Does that make sense?
No, it makes 100% sense. My husband's father just worked under the table, so they paid him under the table instead of paying child support.
Well, when I say that, so I got the wild idea that I was going to help out my mom. So I went over to a few blocks over to Kroger, which was on Washington Street. And I asked Bill Borden, which was the store manager, if I could sweep his parking lot every morning before school and shovel the walk in the wintertime so that I could make some extra money, right? I didn't tell him what for. I just wanted to make some extra money, according to him. So he's like, absolutely, I'll give you $15 a week. $15 a week doesn't sound like much now for working every day before school, right? Yeah. So I would get up, I would get ready for school, and I'd go sweep the parking lot, or in the wintertime, shovel the walk. And on my first day, I remember my first day getting my money for that week. And I asked him, I said, can I have groceries instead for my family? And it really touched him that I would, at 11 years old, give up $15 and get $15 worth of groceries. Now, $15 worth of groceries was quite a bit at that time.
Yes, it was.
We're talking, what, 1977, right?
That was one.
Yeah. I was 11, I think. Yeah, 11. So it's been a long time ago, right? So he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to double it. I'm gonna give you $30 in groceries. So I was able to get $30 in groceries for my family, and so I did that every week for almost 2 years, and um, and that's how we survived. Between that and my mom going to the Kokomo Rescue Mission and buying our clothes, and we were poor. We lived in
Yeah.
hand-me-down. I was born in a boy's body,
Hmm.
but I knew I never belonged there. So, and I said lots of times that I was a girl, and nobody wanted to believe me. Um, I will tell you, it was hard growing up. It was hard growing up, not because we were poor, but because I wasn't who I was supposed to be, right?
Hmm.
And it took a toll on me mentally, and physically, because I tried to hurt myself more than once. I
Self
had
harm is incredibly common within the trans population, especially before they realize that they're transgender. They know something is wrong and they're not quite able to understand what it is. Now there's a lot more education, but once again, you're talking back in the 70s. So we're going
yeah,
way on
we're
back,
back in
right?
the yeah,
So,
exactly.
so I want to
So
explain to people why self harm is common in Robyn's story. Sorry, Robyn, go
absolutely,
ahead.
absolutely. And so I had multiple suicide attempts. I was put in rehab facilities and mental health facilities,
Mhm.
um, because to them being transgender wasn't normal. That
Right.
was considered a mental health.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, that's the way it's getting back to nowadays, right? So I'm going to speed up a little bit, and we're going to come up to 9 years ago.
Hmm.
9 years ago, in on July the 15th, 2017, I lived in Naples, Florida. My mom has passed away by now. She passed away in 2009. And I lived in Naples, Florida. And I was married. I had a stepson, had a nice home. Um, and I decided I couldn't do it anymore. So I
Right.
left my home and I decided I wasn't going to live. And
Ooh.
I left my home 9 years ago, intending to end my life. And I ended up um, at a transgender support group, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Um, Instead of hurting myself, I ended up there. And that support group, there were two girls, trans girls, that just were amazing. They gave me their numbers and they pretty much saved my life, is what I say. They saved my life because we texted back and forth and let me know that it was not a bad thing to come out and not a bad thing to let people know. And believe it or not, the next day was my birthday because I wasn't going to turn 51 years old still lying to people and lying to myself. I had decided that I was going to do this all before my birthday in my life. And those girls said no. Jessica and Christina were amazing. They were just amazing people. And unfortunately, both of them have passed on since then in the last 9 years, but they will always be my guardian angels. So I called my sister, and I told her that I was that I needed to come out
Hmm.
as trans. And my sister and I were very close, and her exact words were to me, "No, what you need to do is go downstairs, get in your car in the garage, turn the music on, turn the car on, and go to sleep." And I told her, I said, "You just told me to kill myself." And she said, "Yeah, because that's what you need. We don't need any more freaks in this world." I tell you that because I have not spoke to my sisters since 2017.
I can
And it's been
understand why, quite honestly.
and it's been hard. It's been
Yeah.
very hard. Um, my family pretty much have disowned me except for my daughter. My daughter is amazing. I have some cousins and nephews and stuff and nieces that are amazing also. Um, so I decided the next day I was coming out. And so on my birthday, I gave myself the best birthday present ever. I let Robyn out to the world. I
You
let
for your
her live her
birthday,
life.
you were finally you.
Yes, yes. I was born 51 years before that, and on my 51st birthday, I was reborn basically into who I was truly meant to be. And um, I told my wife that didn't go the best, and it's been a long uphill battle. I gave up a really good job
Mm-hmm.
um, by coming out, gave up my home, my life, but I gained my life. I gained my sense of self worth, self
Mm-hmm.
being, and I let Robyn out to the world, and it was amazing. It was amazing. It was an amazing feeling. Did everybody agree with it? No, not at all. Since then, I have stayed in Florida. I
Which is
moved
impressive,
to
by the way, just to say.
right because of the way Florida is with the LGBTQ plus the trans community, right?
Yep.
Um, and 4 years ago, I moved to Lake County.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hadn't planned on moving to Lake County. It just happened that there was a job here with the company that I got a job with,
Uh-huh.
and the job was actually in Marion County, and I drove back and forth. But it was actually a good move for me. A good move for me. Um, and then I met my now wife, DJ. She's amazing. DJ is cisgender, and for those of you who do not know what cisgender means, it means that you were born with the same body and the same brain, right?
I
So
love how you
you
said that. Same brain. Your
you
brain
were
matches your
born
body.
right. Your brain matches your body, right? Transgender means that your brain doesn't match your body. You have a different brain. People don't understand that sex is between your legs and gender is in your head. Gender
And
is here.
I want to actually say something. There has been lots of research done that they've actually done CAT scans, brain MRIs, all sorts of things of transgender individuals' brains. And it's very important to understand science because, like you said, the wrong brain in the wrong body, because they've actually shown and proven that a trans female's brain, so a trans woman who is born a male at birth. So
Hmm.
that's what their organs down at the bottom look like. That's all it
Right.
is organs down at the bottom that are hanging out there. So
Yep.
those organs is what they assigned male or female by. However, if
Exactly.
you were to go and do an MRI or a CAT scan, what would show is the brain. So if it was a trans woman, their brain is going to match that of a woman, not of a man. And a trans masculine or a trans man, their brain is going to identify and look more like a masculine man's brain, like a male at birth. Because so that is why Robyn's saying her brain didn't match her body, because science is science.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I want to tell you this quick story. My mom used to tell me this story for years and years, and the story never changed, right? I was supposed to be twins. Up
Mm.
until the point I was born, they thought I was twins. Years ago, when a woman was pregnant, they would take a piece of string, a
Yeah.
needle, and a pencil, and they would put it together and they'd hold it over the woman's wrist. And
Yep.
it would swing one way for a boy, one way for a girl.
Yep.
Well, when they did that to my mom when she was pregnant for me, it swung one way, stopped, and swung the other way. They were convinced that she was having twins. She was
One of
convinced she
each.
was having twins. The doctor, because the way she was carrying me and everything like that, was convinced she was having twins until I was born. And then the doctor jokingly said, it all came in one package. So I did some research on that and found out that there is a thing called a chimera. And a chimera, what happens is there's two embryos.
Mm-hmm.
They're twin embryos, and one embryo engulfs the other embryo.
Uh-huh.
And the non-technical term is smooshes together.
I like smooshes. I like smoosh.
So you get the exo and the endo,
Uh-huh.
right? And so they found out that that's what happens with a lot of trans individuals, whether it be transmasculine or transfeminine, is they were
They
supposed to
absorb
be
the other. They absorb the
they
other.
absorb the other. Absolutely, absolutely. So my mom told me this story for years and years and years, and never ever changed that story. It stayed the same no matter when she told it. And even when she was to the point of her dementia, it still stayed the same. This was a story that she told me.
Right.
And after I had my surgery, because I had such complications, I started researching, and that's when I
Mm-hmm.
found out about the whole chimera part of it. So that that's where you get a lot of your trans people from, is because a lot of them are from being a chimera, and they just don't realize it, right? And society always thought that chimeras were only in animals, and they
Well,
found out after a certain point that they are in human beings also.
we're animals, just in case anybody was confused. We're also animals. I'm sorry. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse since 1997. So a lot of things are hard for me sometimes where I'm like, it's just basic science. But I have to tell you a funny story. It's very similar. It's similar to yours, other than it wasn't the string. I know all about that also. Once again, being a nurse and going through nursing school in the 90s. Trust me, you know all the folklores. And I went to nursing school in Oklahoma to help everybody out on that one too. But not long after my daughter Ruth was born, I had gone to Universal Studios. And there's a reason that I'm explaining the Universal Studios part, I promise. I don't know if you've ever been there, but Florida, Universal Studios, Florida, I'm in Florida. So we went there and they had this little tent, like this little tent marketplace. And they had mediums, psychics, whatever you want to call them. And I am a sucker for a psychic. I will use it as pure entertainment value, but I enjoy it and it's worth my $20. It's just as good as going to a movie as far as I'm concerned, except I get to hear a story about my life. So as long as you use it for entertainment purposes only, just get the joy out of it, okay? So anyway, there we go. I preface that one. So I went and very first, I look young for my age, and that's because I have EDS. Even though I'm going to be 50 this September, I look more like I'm 30, and I understand that. So you can just imagine what I might have looked like at 23. So they actually had made me provide ID to prove I was over 18 in order to sit down. So I just want to explain this. So this is the person at the register that I'm doing, and this was in the 90s again. This isn't today when you can hop on and dox people, okay? Remember, go back to the 90s, people. So I sit down with Raymond Russ. His name's Raymond Russ. If you're Raymond Russ and you're listening to this, call me. I want to talk, okay? So we're sitting there, and first off, he starts and he says, "Oh, you're married and you have children," which, by the way, was shocking because, once again, they didn't think I was 18. And we're talking, and they're like, it's like, I see this, and it's very weird. I know you have 2 children, and I know you've told me you can't have any more because I had a tubal ligation after my second one. He said, but I see another child. I see a girl, and I can't explain it. There's a girl waiting, but it's years, like a girl. Like, this is recorded. You know how they give you those little tapes? He's telling me that there's a girl, that I'm going to have a daughter somehow. He doesn't understand it. And he goes, I don't understand it, but there's politics tied to your daughter. I guess she's going to be in politics. Right? So fast forward a couple more years, I went down to Casadega in Florida. Once again, love Casadega. And Reverend Birdie saw her, and she's like, so you have a daughter. You're going to have a daughter. And I'm like, I cannot have another child. Like, I'm tired of you psychics telling me this because y'all are nuts. Like, I didn't say that to her, but this is like my brain, right? I'm like, am I adopting one? Is somebody dying and giving me one? Like, I couldn't figure out where I was getting this other kid from. Well, I know where I got my other kid from. It just was the same child. So what the psychics were picking up on was they couldn't figure out what it was, but I had a daughter waiting. They never told me my son left. Like they never told me I didn't have a son anymore, which they don't tell you things your brain can't process either, which is important to know. But so going back to the 90s, I was told by two psychics over a period of time that I was going to have a daughter. And I'm like, no, I won't. Yes, I did. I have two. No son anymore. So I just want to, like, this is not abnormal. And you brought up science as that one. There's another science that I want to bring out. So here's one. Here's another one. I have EDS. I just said that. Did you know that in patients with EDS, there's an 18 times more likely percent chance of somebody being transgender or gender diverse? Oh, another science.
Absolutely.
Isn't that interesting? So, okay. So wanted to go over those exciting things because they were a little bit different, but go back on.
So I now live in Lake County. I live in Leesburg, and now I'm running for the Florida House of Representatives. Let's get into that.
I know. So he's the very first openly transgender. Listen, y'all, I had, I do interviews and I like to chat, but I have to write down some points and brain fog. So here's my iPad. I'm just showing everybody now. So I want to make sure I get things right. So you are making history as Lake County's first openly transgender candidate for state legislature. Yay! When you decided to step up, right, and run, what was the specific moment where you said, I have to do this? My community needs my voice right now. What was it that clicked?
Believe it or not, it was mainly the moment that Sarah McBride became the first trans woman in Congress. Because, and I'll tell you why, because I watched Nancy Mace be so mean to her. And I watched our government be so mean to her in the way of our federal government. And then I looked at our current governor, Ron DeSantis, and I don't want to say his name too much because he might appear like Beetlejuice.
Right? We all.
But, the attacks on transgendered individuals, right? The attacks that we go through made me say, enough is enough. If someone like Sarah McBride can stand up to these people, stand up to Nancy Mace, stand up to the people in Congress. I'll tell you a funny story. I was watching one of the interviews that they had up there, and the guy says the House would like to recognize the gentleman from Delaware.
I saw that.
And instead of being upset, right, she says, "Thank you, Madam Speaker." I thought that was so awesome. You misgendered me.
He got his little panties in a twist, didn't he?
Right? So that was the point that I said, enough is enough. The more and more I watched, the more angry I got. I thought about people that are going through everything they're going through, right? I was very lucky. I was able to have all my surgeries. I was able to get the counseling I needed so that I could have my surgeries, because it is a long drawn out. And I kept seeing Trump say, "Oh, little Johnny goes to school and comes home in the evening and he's a girl." And it doesn't work that way, folks. It does not work that way. You don't go to school in the morning.
You have to send, like, the parents are sending in hand sanitizers and tissue boxes, but yet you think they can afford doctors, plastic surgeons, anesthesiologists. I mean, come on.
In the school, right? And they're going to do this surgery in like 6 hours and send them back home. It
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
work that way.
they're just going to get off the bus.
I was in the hospital for 6 weeks when I had my surgery. Normally it's 6 days in the hospital. I did have some complications, but the more I heard that, and the more he put that crap, let's just call it what it is, crap, online, and talked about it during his election campaign, it just really ticked me off and ticked me off more. And the more I thought about it, I was like, I got to do this. I got to do this for my community. I got to do this for the LGBTQ. I got to do this for everyone. And then I heard about, and then all the women's rights issues and stuff like that. Let's get into that, right? So I just decided it was time. Now, this was not something that I did lightly. I sit down and talk to my wife about this because
you would have had to have. Like, that's a lot for her too.
Well, yeah, she, my wife doesn't see me as anything but a woman, right? Which I am, full-fledged now. But I wanted her to be okay with this.
Right.
Because we all know how campaigns are.
Yes.
We know they can get down and dirty. And I told her, I said, TJ, if I'm going to do this, she was 100% okay with it. But I said, you have to understand, if I'm going to do this, there are going to be people that's going to come at me. There are going to be people that's going to say stuff. I'll get misgendered.
Oh, yeah.
I'll probably get called by my dead name, but I'm going to stop a lot of it by bringing out that I am trans. Because if I bring it out, my opponent can't.
Right.
She can't bring it out and make it anything bad.
No, she can't. I got to tell you a cute story about your wife real quick. I have to say this. So one of the things that is also very difficult within the LGBTQIA plus community is you have a lot of LGB people who don't necessarily want to stand up for the T, which unfortunately, because it's the T who threw the brick at Stonewall. Let's just be honest here. That's a whole nother thing. But when I met your wife, I met her at Lake County Pride, and she was telling me all about you. And she had the rainbows on, and I'm like looking at her, and I cross my arms, and I'm like, that's great. I'm glad she's part of the alphabet community pretty much. But you tell me, how does she feel about transgender rights? Because I'm so tired of there not being accountability for transgender people. Like, transgender people are people. They breathe, they bleed, just like you and me. So she looked at me, she laughed. And she goes, you need to go around there. You're going to see this beautiful blonde, which is how she described you. She goes, that's my wife, Robyn. And she's transgender. I think I ran away from her to try to get to you at that point. I'm like, hold on. Here's Laura in her rainbow dress running. And I bring that up because it is important, because we can have other gay candidates that are running, but they might not be willing to stand up for the transgender community. And I want to put it out there to everybody. If you have a candidate that's not willing to stand up for the transgender community, what other community might they not be willing to stand up for?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So wouldn't it be better to have candidates that think everyone deserves equal rights? And we were talking about women's health issues, and I've not shared this story with people on Living Out Loud yet, but I am going to. So in December, my oldest daughter, Kaylee, gave birth. We were very, very happy. I'm grateful. I have a beautiful grandson who was born at 35 weeks. However, my daughter ended up in the ICU. My daughter had a 30% chance of survival. My daughter's happy, healthy, so my daughter is at home with us. But after that situation, her doctors, and she had to go to infertility specialists, told her she cannot get pregnant again. She cannot. Her body cannot take another pregnancy, okay? Then the doctor told my daughter, who is happily married, been with her husband for a long time. If you get pregnant accidentally, you need to go. And she gave her all the states that she had to leave the state of Florida to go to for her life to be saved. So, what is going on is hugely important. And I get so tired of people saying, well, you shouldn't open your legs. Like, let me just say the horrible things that people say to begin with. We all know that. But like, my daughter is married, and they would expect her and her husband to have intimate relations, but yet people still say horrible things. Like, you can't, even tubal ligations, there's a chance that it will reverse. You can do everything in your power other than not have a physical relationship with people. And that's just ridiculous. But my daughter's life shouldn't be at risk because some person decided that their religious beliefs trump my child's individuality.
And you know, and that's important. And you know, I don't feel like any government, any politician, or any man should have the right to tell a woman what they can and can't do with their bodies.
Can I ask you something? Do you know of any medical procedure that women tell men they can't have, or anything that a man is not able to have done to them?
No.
No. And can I ask you a question? Is Cialis and Viagra gender affirming care?
Technically, yeah.
It is.
Yeah. You know, when you look at everything that we do to our bodies, right? There is so much gender affirming care that we do to our bodies as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Breast implants are gender affirming care.
Yes. I had gender affirming care done.
Surgery is gender affirming care. Guess what? Hair transplants that men get, the hair club for men, that's gender affirming care when you think about it.
Because I had a double mastectomy with reconstruction, and I have boobs, fake boobs. So I've had gender affirming care. My reconstruction was so I can feel comfortable in my own body, which was body dysphoria, which, by the way, I still have because I don't look the same, which is fine. But nonetheless, the reason the reconstruction is there, it is gender affirming care.
Absolutely.
People just look at it very minusculely, and something that very much frustrates me. My cousin has a daughter that had to be put on puberty blockers when she was 8 because she was starting to like go through puberty. She was getting hair in all the places where you wouldn't want an 8-year-old to have hair. So she got to go on puberty blockers. I did not see a whole line of protesters out there screaming that my niece shouldn't have been on puberty blockers. It's shocking.
Yeah, you know, people want to stick their nose in everybody else's business. You know, I want to backtrack just a little bit, if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Back to women's rights, real quick, yes, if you don't mind. So there is no doctor, no nurse in the state of Florida that should have to face criminal charges for saving the life of a woman.
No.
It just should not happen.
No.
And unfortunately, in this day and age, with this administration in Washington and this administration in Tallahassee, that's what's happening.
Yes.
People don't understand that a doctor or a nurse can go to jail for saving the life of a woman over an unborn fetus.
Wait, an unborn fetus, and sometimes the fetuses have expired inside the womb. They're non-viable, which means there's no heartbeat, there's no nothing. They're still not allowing the doctors to go in and do a DNC, which is basically an abortion. Like, you know, you go and suck out the deadness. It's dead. Sorry. No heartbeat, no blood. That's not alive. I think we can all agree on that one. But they're not even allowing them to do that, which means the women are turning septic.
Exactly.
So it is literally like right before they're about to die that they're on the phone with the governor By the way, you got to call Ron DeSantis and get a hold of him.
Good luck with that one.
And by the way, Ron DeSantis is so far up Trump's ass. He wants a position in that guy's cabinet so bad when lame duck Governor DeSantis's term is up. That's why he's made Florida into Project 2025 to begin with. If nobody knew this, Florida and Texas have both been ground for Project 2025 for years. We're living the health state earlier than everybody else. So we saw it. But like you said, there shouldn't be. And from a person, I used to work for Centene, and I used to be the supervisor of utilization management for a product in the state of Florida, which means I work for the insurance companies, which I know what the insurance companies are doing. And an insurance adjuster should not be allowed to tell you you're not allowed to have a medication that your doctor wishes you to have. I cannot afford, I have a migraine medication, a Jovi, that has been prescribed to me. It is $900 a month. That's $10,000 a year.
Absolutely.
I can't afford that. My insurance isn't paying for my physical therapy. Because, like,
absolutely, I agree with you. Insurance is awful in the state of Florida. We leave so much money on the table every year that our lovely governor, and I say that sarcastically, decides to send that money to other states that have Republican governors.
Mm-hmm. So he is taking Florida's taxpayer money.
Absolutely.
I want y'all to listen to what Robyn is saying. People do not understand this. Ron DeSantis is taking Florida taxpayers' money, which, let's face it, we're barely able to afford to live in Florida any longer ourselves. And he's taking it and sending it to other red states.
Absolutely. And that money could be used to fund Medicare and Medicaid for all. Right now in the state of Florida, health insurance is a privilege.
Yep.
If you have health insurance, even the worst health insurance, it's a privilege for you.
Yes.
It should be a right. I suffer from migraines.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife will tell you, they're debilitating. Like,
yes,
I have to lay down, and I get 6 pills a month. 6 pills a month to take care of my migraines when I have a migraine. Now, I'm going to tell you, there are some times when I have 3 to 4 migraines a week.
Yep.
How long do you think 6 pills a month last?
I've had to explain this to my neurologist one time. Like, I only take them when I have no choice. Like, I can live through a lot of my migraine. I've gotten used to it, right? Over the years, I used to have to work through them all the time. But there gets to be a point where, like, you'd rather die. Pretty much that's when I take my pill, when I'd rather die.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I can hear ringing in my ears. That's not bad enough. Oh, the lights, so I can just shut the lights off. Like, it gets to the point where it's like, then I actually take my pill. But exactly. And in the state of Florida, and that's why it matters who you vote for. Because if we continue to elect people that are going to give the governor in the state of Florida free pass and just allow him to do whatever he wants, signing legislation after dark behind closed doors without anybody there, this should be something that every single person should be very, very, very scared about. This is not normal.
No, and I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what side of the aisle you are on. You know someone, I guarantee you know someone that is going through the same thing.
Yep.
You know someone that doesn't have health insurance. You know someone that is homeless. You know someone that has a handicap. You know someone that can't afford groceries.
And
let's talk about affordability,
and
which goes right back to.
One of the things that's very frustrating is a lot of times you'll hear people say, and I'm just going to put this out there, that you should have planned better. Like, you'll hear that a lot. You should have planned better. They didn't try hard enough, all these different things. And I want to explain my process here in Florida. Okay. So I've been a nurse since 1997, lived in Florida since 1997. So I've basically lived in Florida since I was a nurse, right? Worked up until 2023. And then I wasn't able to work anymore. My condition had gotten so bad to where I was literally convulsing daily and being removed off of Zoom meetings while I was in full convulsions or falling on the ground. It was really, really bad. Now, I was making really good money. I'm going to tell y'all that. I was making good money. Who wouldn't want to make good money? Near six figures, right? That's good money. Well, we can all agree to that. So I wasn't able to work, but I was so lucky because I had a good job with a good company, right? I worked for Centene, and I'd been paying in for 10 years. I gave them 10 years of my life, and I'd paid in. I was fully vested. So when I went out on short-term disability the last time on June 9th, 2023, and I was providing them paperwork showing that my doctor was writing convulsions up into and including death because I was literally stopping breathing and my heart was stopping. Little minor things. Having near-death experiences where I saw my life in review twice, just little things. And, I was turning this paper in. They stopped paying me before my 6 months was up for short-term disability, denied my ongoing short-term disability, denied my long-term disability. Then this was on November 19th. Then my company fired me as of October 30th. They retro fired me because I didn't go back to work on October 30th when I wasn't denied until November 19th. My services, I don't even know how I would have known almost 3 weeks earlier, even though I kept telling them I couldn't go back. But so they stopped paying me. So now I'm just going to say $100,000 a year. It wasn't the number, but we're just using it to make it round. So I went from making $100,000 a year to nothing. And they fired me. So they they retro fired me. So they fucked my Cobra. So I did not have any health insurance. So I'm sick, no money, and no health insurance in the state of Florida. I went from having a great nest egg, we had a great 401k, to that was in 2023. Now we're in 2026. We've depleted our savings account. All of our 401ks are gone, and I still cannot afford my medical.
You got to love this the state we live in. And it's all because of who is running it, and that's Ron DeSantis.
It is.
And his rubber stampers up in the House. Let's don't forget about the state representatives, right? They're the ones that help vote on these bills.
Yes, they do.
And ours here in District 26 isn't doing us any favors, folks. She is not doing us any favors. And that's why we need someone in the House that has been through everything that we're talking about.
I think it's important for somebody to be in the position, and this is me now. What is it? Eyesight is 2020, or hindsight. That's it. Hindsight is 2020. Right now, I'm going to sit here and tell you that I think the most important thing is no one knows, but pretty much almost every person is one paycheck away from being homeless, unhoused, trying to beg for money from someone, trying to get disability from somewhere. Like, we're all just like one paycheck away from this, right? And when you don't have representatives in office that understand these things, marginalized people that have had to try to walk this way, right? And people that go to grocery stores and spend money and buy groceries, which none of us think is a brand new fucking word. Sorry, that just annoys me. Oh, have you ever heard of the word groceries? Yes, since I was about 3 and we were going to the grocery store. my food just didn't pop up in my refrigerator. I don't know. I've gone to the grocery store for a long time. So that money is how we buy things, right? We need that money to buy things. In Florida, we have agriculture, right? In Oviedo, we're still doing celery. We have citrus. Like, people don't realize we're an agricultural state. But when you have representatives that don't understand that migrant farm workers need to be able to carry out those jobs, right? That's who does that. And we have ICE picking them up for no reason whatsoever. It's causing our prices in Florida to go up. You want houses and construction built? That is great. Have you looked at a construction site recently? It's not all white people. So once again, if we have state representatives that are not fighting for our rights, your neighbor's rights, your whoever's rights, and they're just like, well, I don't understand why that matters. You can't have houses built if we have people that are afraid of going into ICE custody or actually being picked up by ICE and detained. And I say picked up by ICE, detained, and disappeared, because that's what happens. They get disappeared.
Absolutely. Or
they
killed.
Can be picked up in Florida. You need people to understand this. They can be picked up in Florida. They can pick them up and move them to another state.
Yeah.
Not tell anybody, not tell their families, not tell their lawyers. No one.
And you have no idea where they're at. You have no idea where they're at.
And these are American citizens, too. They're screaming, I'm an American citizen. I'm an American citizen. I'm an American citizen.
When did we get to this point where you have to carry paperwork with you to prove that you're an American citizen? When did we get to this point?
And what's worse is if
we just had our 250th birthday. We just had our 250th birthday.
Hey, and the 250th birthday was because originally white men were really pissed off that they had to pay taxes, right?
Right.
Just want to point that out again.
And this
country is not lost on me.
Right? This country was built on immigrants.
Yes.
You show me, other than the Native Americans, you show me one person that their family did not come from another country.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, exactly. And we will be listening to the crickets and cobwebs grow forever when we wait, because that's what this country was built on.
And this whole thing about not coming here the right way and all that. And I'm going to say this because I was a Republican till 2016, and then I went independent. Now I'm not, because the state of Florida sucks. You cannot be an independent here, basically, and vote in primaries. But I used to have this automatic thing that would come in my head and be like, well, yeah, you should come here legally. You should come here legally. You should come here legally. I would say this. I didn't understand what the fuck I meant by it. I just was parroting it. I had no fucking clue.
That's the way you were groomed by parents and by adults. And that's why people are the way they are sometimes, is that's the way you were brought up. I remember my mom used to babysit for this little girl named Melissa, and her parents came from Florida to Indiana to work in the fields and pick tomatoes in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the summertime, when it was summer here, and then when it was winter up there, they would stay down here and they would pick tomatoes or whatever, or fruit, whatever. Yeah. And they were from Mexico. They were legally here. My mom babysitted for this little girl for years. And, it's people like that do the jobs that, let's face it, I'm going to say this and everybody's going to get mad at me, that Americans don't want to do.
You know how you know Americans don't want to do it? Because they're not doing it.
Exactly. And let's face it, if you're not out in that field picking tomatoes, picking corn,
oranges.
I used to detassel corn.
Ooh.
Because in Indiana, that's what we grew was
Yeah,
corn.
not
And
Selwood.
every child in Indiana went through the whole detasseling phase. We'd work in the fields, right?
Yep.
Worst job ever. We didn't want to be there, but we wanted money, you know. And that's my point. We don't want to do these jobs. We don't want to work in the hotels and make the beds and clean the toilets. We don't want to do the kind of things. We don't want to get on a roof in Florida in 95-degree weather. We don't want to do that. You think that this last couple weeks have been bad? Think about being on a roof. I know I talk funny when I say certain things, but I'm from Indiana.
Then your Indiana comes out. That's okay. My Jersey comes out. And we lived in Oklahoma for 3 years. And there was just some fun things I picked up in Oklahoma. So I keep saying it like buggy. And like, I just love it. And
but we don't want to do those jobs. And that's why we allow the other, the migrants to do those jobs. And, to call ICE on people. Okay, if they're a violent felon and they're killing people, that's one thing. But let's don't group everybody together. That's like saying all the LGBTQ people are terrible. Let's get rid of them. No.
Or everybody that voted for Donald Trump is a racist. People don't like that. You don't want to be grouped all together, right?
Right. I have friends that voted for Donald Trump. But
I family.
Yeah, I know. So do I. But I don't put them in the same category as Donald Trump necessarily, because not everybody is like that. I have friends that support me that voted for Donald Trump. Yes, I did say that support me.
Yes, I understand. No, I understand that. That's what I try to explain to people. Part of my stepfather's problem is he can support Ruth and he can separate Ruth from every other trans individual. So I know what you mean by that.
But let's face it, we've got to get ICE under control. We need to abolish what we have now created. And I say we as Americans because we allowed it, right? It might have been Donald Trump and it might have been this whatever her name was that was in charge of Homeland Security.
Pam Bondi?
No,
that was the other one.
Christie, but we allowed it. So I say we got to get ICE under control because we allowed this, right? We need to abolish the current ICE and actually have an ICE that actually works with the people and not against them.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
We have mass people running through the streets, acting like idiots.
I want to point out also, because we're talking about ICE, right? And we're talking that we shouldn't lump everybody together. And if there are murderers, and of course, like there are certain people that no matter who they are, they should be in places that they should be, like in prisons and wherever they need to be. I'm not arguing that. But another thing that you have to understand, we're not just going after the worst of the worst. And the way that you know that is they're removing protective status.
Absolutely.
You don't remove people's protective status that came here seeking asylum because where they lived, their life was at risk, right? They didn't do anything wrong. They're just here living their lives. They came here the right way. I'm doing this because still, y'all look up what the right way is and y'all tell me, because y'all would be shocked. You have to be here first and then you have to apply for some stuff. It's shocking how some of this stuff works because we're just taught to spew things like, that's how I felt. Like, I'm always saying you have to be willing to look in the mirror and figure out where these things are coming from. That was one of the ones I had to start looking at myself and being like, well, where did I get this from? That's hard to look in the mirror and realize I was wrong. But being undocumented and overstaying a visa is the same as a moving violation. So if you get a speeding ticket and you don't think you should be thrown into prison with 100 other people, maybe our immigrants shouldn't either.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you what. So when people apply to be a U.S. citizen, when immigrants come and they apply to be a U.S. citizen, they're asked questions. I guarantee you, there's probably not 3% of Americans that can answer the same questions and pass it.
I know they can't. One of my friends, a couple of years back, she became a naturalized citizen, and she had two kids that had gone all the way through, the primary school and everything. So they graduated high school. They did not have to know all the stuff she had to know. It was insanity. And she was adopted from Mexico to white people way back in the, 70s there. But like, it was crazy what she had to go through. Now, I've noticed that you have been out doing some door knocking, going door to door, meeting with people. And I'm kind of interested, what are the most common fears or hopes that you're hearing from people on the ground in Florida right now in our area?
A lot of people are concerned, first of all, about healthcare, right? Affordability is a big thing, right? And our environment. We haven't even talked about the environment.
No.
We talk about growth. There is a way to do growth. There's a stupid way. I'm just going to say that. And there's a smart way. We all know growth's going to happen. That's a given, right? That's a given. But when you tear down beautiful land with trees and displace animals that live there, and you put up $500,000-$600,000 homes that nobody can afford,
or that's golf course, or golf courses.
Yes,
because we don't have enough golf courses in the state of Florida.
No, we don't have enough. We need more. And I say that jokingly because
how many golf courses are in the state of Florida? I'm looking up the question because I need to know. We have 1,290 golf courses in the state of Florida. I don't think we need any more.
No, not at all. Not at all. The state of Florida loses 45,000 acres every year to new builds. Now that's housing, that's business development,
retail
45,000 acres every year. Do you know how we would feel if we burnt 45,000 acres every single year? I mean, we freak out when we have forest fires and the fires around here.
Yep.
But we still lose this property.
And that's a very interesting thing because you drive anywhere around Florida, you're going to see towns that have been forgotten, that they're in disrepair. We have malls everywhere that are just basically huge brick coliseums. I don't know what else you call them. We can rebuild or build without taking down nature all over the place. Now, I'm not saying we don't need housing either. Do not get me wrong. I'm well aware that when my house was built, somebody plowed down the land to build my house. However, this wasn't state land that was preserved or anything like that. We had state parks that our government in Florida was trying to sell that land to put more golf resorts on. And when you're talking about buying houses in the state of Florida, for a while there, every single new housing development you drove by, they were 3,000 to 4,000 square foot houses going $600,000, $700,000, $800,000. I don't know where anybody has this money from. We don't make that money here in Florida.
We need affordable housing.
So you're either going to be mortgage poor or, and another thing, because John and I just bought our house again. So we've owned 3 homes in our lifetime. Our first house we bought in Oklahoma City in the early 90s. Our second house we bought in, oh, so this is our fourth house. Sorry. Fourth house. Yeah. Our fourth house. Our second house we bought in Altamont, and that was in the late 90s. And then my other house I bought was in Maitland, and we bought that in like 2010-ish, 2012-ish time frame, something like that. Each time, my house that I bought in Oklahoma, I paid $44,500 for. Okay, fine. My house that I bought in Florida was $88,700, the first one. The second house I bought in Florida was $290,000. At least that house went from being 1,700 square foot for my first house to about 2,200 square feet. Now, just 2 years ago, John and I bought another house, this time in Lake County, not Maitland, not Altamont, not Orlando, Lake County. We bought a 1,500 square foot house. We paid $322,000. We have less house. It's cost us so much more money to get less of a house. And the price is going up. But what was happening when we were looking at houses, and this is where all this comes from, we were told, well, if you put down all cash, you can get a house quicker. Where was I supposed to be getting $300,000 from?
Exactly.
Like, so what that does is it has corporations. And I live in Lake County. We know that. I live in Tavares in Lake County. And I live in one of the neighborhoods where it was primarily a rental neighborhood. So it is switching over to where it is more and more homeowners now, actual homeowners. But what that meant is businesses, corporations were coming in and buying these houses before people could. And when you have somebody that's here, like, here, I have 300,000, they only have 250. Here's my 300. It goes up, it goes up, it goes up, and it goes up. The prices were not driven up because people were making more money. And that's what people need to understand. The costs were driven up because our legislature in Florida has allowed for corporations to be able to buy homes before a person. And for the life of me, I do not understand why people are putting corporations above people. This is why we can't afford houses. My oldest daughter and her husband, my son-in-law works at Lockheed Martin. Dude makes money. My daughter is a nurse. She makes good money. They can't afford to buy their own house.
Nope.
I just told you, I own 4 homes. 2 of those homes I owned before my even second child was born. I was able to purchase 2 homes. Now I couldn't at all. Like, that is what has changed. And
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. People are telling me, we shouldn't have to choose between groceries and medicine.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what's happening right now.
Groceries and gas for your car to get to work.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, gas prices are ridiculous. And Trump's like, oh, they're the lowest they've been in years. Well, I've not seen it, but okay, if you say so, Mr. Trump. But we need representation in District 26 that knows how it feels.
Yes.
Our current representation doesn't know how it feels. And, I'm going to go off on a limb here and say that, okay, so the people don't understand how things work, right? The House of Representatives, right? Our job is a part-time job.
Mm-hmm.
We get paid part-time pay, okay? Because we only technically, and I use those quotes, work 3 months out of the year.
I think that's how much our state representatives in Congress have worked this year.
Right. But we get paid part-time pay. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're a representative that cares, now let me say that again. If you're a representative that cares about your constituents, right, you're going to
All
be
of your
available,
constituents.
all of your constituents, not just a few. You're going to be available all the time. You're going to be available for them. Now, are you going to be available at 2 o'clock in the morning? No. But you're going to be available for people.
And
Unfortunately, we don't have that representation.
and let's be honest, Lake County is either Lake County, we are a working county. We are not a handout county. We're not like where we were just all have born with silver spoons in our mouths. That's not what Lake
Exactly.
County is. Lake
Right.
County is hard working people that are trying their best to live their lives, raise their families, and enjoy themselves. That's what Lake County is, and Lake County residents are. And every single person that lives in Lake County, that's a resident of Lake County, that's paying into the taxes here, should be represented and should have your voice heard. And
Exactly.
that
And
is why.
your tax dollars that you pay here in Lake County goes to pay for your representative. Do you want a representative that is available 3 months out of the year? Or do you want a representative that is going to answer your questions, be there for you, and fight for you 12 months out of the year?
I can tell you
I
this. I
want
have
somebody that's
reached
going
out
to
to
fight for
our
me 12 months out of the year.
representatives multiple times, probably almost monthly in the past 2 years. Do you know Daniel Webster has never called me back? Ashley Moody has never called me back. None of my representatives. Randy Fine, all he wants to do is make memes of me.
Ugh,
So he doesn't call me
don't
back,
get
but he'll
me started
trash
on
me.
any of those. Well, and Daniel Webster, let's just talk about him. 26 years he's been in Congress. 26 years. I just signed a pledge. Okay, I just signed a pledge to help get rid of these people making a living out of Congress.
Yep.
Out of being a state representative. We need term limits. And I just signed a pledge saying that I would support term limits.
Good.
There is no reason that a person should be in Congress for 26 years. 26 years.
No. Even Susan Collins in Maine, she ran. I just want to put it out there because you have to pay attention. She ran saying, I'm only going to run. I'll only be there 8 years. And I promise I'm going to get out. I'm going to leave. She's not doing it. They're calling her on it. They're like, well, you said this. And she's like, well, I guess for some people, it's really hard to leave. Easy money.
Exactly.
Because nobody's making you do anything. You're right. Because who's making Daniel Webster do anything?
He doesn't do anything.
He doesn't show up to vote.
Nope.
He's not even showing up to vote. And for the life of me, how Rick Scott, after committing Medicare fraud with the insurance company that he was the CEO of,
I used to live in Naples, Florida, so I hear Collier County. So I hear about Rick Scott all the time, and we used to deal with him all the time down there. He is just he's no better than Ron DeSantis. The only difference between him and Ron DeSantis is our governor, unfortunately. That's the only difference.
The other one is Rick Scott looks like he should be in Harry Potter movies. Not in the books, because I don't like J.K. Rowling. She's a bitch. But I like the characters, the actors that are in Harry Potter. So I'll say the Harry Potter movies.
Let me say this. The state of Florida right now has some really good candidates that are running.
Yes.
District 11, right, for congressional,
mm-hmm.
right? We have Daniel Williams,
mm-hmm.
right? And we have Royal Webster.
Yes.
Amazing. Both amazing gentlemen. They work together really well.
I have
And
not
they're
had a
both
chance to
running a
meet
district.
Royal Webster yet.
Oh, he's amazing. You're going to love him when you meet him. You're going to love him.
I can't wait.
District 6, right? Ronnie Murchison Rivera. Have you met him yet?
Oh, I know Ronnie.
Yeah. So Ronnie is putting people first. And that's the thing and that's where I align with those three individuals very well is people over politics.
Yes.
Right? People over policy, because that's where we're getting away from everything is we're not putting people first.
Yeah.
We're putting policies, we're putting politics before we do people.
We are putting companies
exactly first. Exactly. And why are we putting companies first? Because guess what? They're putting money, 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 in the pockets of politicians. The nice thing about people like myself, people like Farmer Banks, James Ferrari, which all three of us running in Lake County for different districts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel Williams and Royal Webster and Ronnie, we're all putting people first. We're doing a grassroots. What does that mean? Grassroots
I was going to ask you that next.
Grassroots means we don't take money from corporations. We are funding our campaigns with people that matter, with individuals like you that are listening to this podcast.
Yes.
We are funding our campaigns with people like you because you guys are the ones that matter. Right? It doesn't matter if you donate $5 to our campaign, if you donate $1,000 to our campaign, you still matter. And that money matters. And that money helps. Even if you can't. I had a lady one time, she come up to me and she's like, I want to donate to your campaign. Can I write you a check? And I'm like, absolutely. She goes, I'm kind of embarrassed. And I said, why would you be embarrassed? And she goes, because I only have $7. And I said, ma'am, it doesn't matter whether you donate $7 or you donate $700. It does the same thing. It helps. And she wrote me a check for $7. And I feel so special to get that check from her.
Because $7 from her is more than $700 from a millionaire.
Exactly. And that's the way that it should be. That's
what representation is supposed to be. It's supposed to be the people being represented by people. Exactly. I remember government class. Well, Lyman High School, 1990s. Florida. I graduated in Florida, people. You know, and that's
I remember government class in 1982.
You were well before me. Like that would have been interesting.
Okay, so I will just tell you, I'm having a birthday in 11 days, and I will be turning 60. Now, if you would have told me back when I was 20 and 25, 30-ish, that at 60 years old, I would be running for a position in the House of Representatives, right?
In Florida.
Right? To be a politician, I would have said, you're out of your mind. I had no intention on running at all. But like we talked about at the beginning of this podcast, things happen and people are just tearing our communities apart and and making people suffer, and that's not right. So there comes a breaking point when you have to say enough is enough, folks. Enough is enough. Let's put somebody in the House of Representatives. Now my preacher's part going to start coming out. Let's put somebody in the House of Representatives that knows what it feels like to go to the grocery store and not be able to buy 6 chicken breasts because they're
Have to put
$24.
some back when you're looking at your package of meat. Is this one 50
Exactly.
cents cheaper?
Goes to the gas station to fill up their car and realizes that they can't fill up their car, so they're going to get $4 or $5 worth of gas to get back and forth to work. Let's put somebody in the House of Representatives that doesn't live in a $300,000 or $400,000 home. Let's put somebody in the House of Representatives that has to figure out how they're going to buy their medication because their insurance, they don't have it or it's very lacking. Let's put somebody in the House of Representatives that deals with people being mean to them and discriminating against them because they're LGBTQ, because of who they love, because of
the
who
color
they
of their
are,
skin, the country they came here from.
Oh my gosh, because of the color of their skin. We're trying to take away black voters' rights. People, come on. Where do we live? We live in America where we're supposed to be free. Sorry, I'm getting a little.
No, it is okay because here, I'm going to follow that one right now because Tallahassee has seen a lot of diverse legislation recently, right? So let's explain to everybody, how are you going to be different? How are you going to help break up this divisive legislation like we're talking about, like gerrymandering?
Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started on gerrymandering. I mean, so DeSantis decides he wants to rewrite the district so that it will benefit the Republicans. I mean, Daniel Williams, he was running in 4 counties for the congressional district. He lost Polk County completely. It went to, I believe, District 18, if I remember right.
Uh-huh.
And that was, I mean, but he thinks that because this is his last term, right? DeSantis, right?
Yeah.
He thinks that he's going to try to figure out how to make it where nobody else can win except for Republicans. And that's where we have to step us up as Floridians and say enough is enough.
And as Floridians, we are also sending our kids to college. And I'm saying this because when our children go to college, they are still Floridians and they still should be allowed to vote in Florida elections, and hence mail-in ballots.
Exactly. And guess
what? Our military who gets deployed overseas.
Who has voted in the last 3 elections with mail-in ballots? I'll give you one guess.
Oh, Donald Trump.
His name is Donald Trump. In the last 3 elections, he's voted by mail-in ballots. But he wants to get rid of them because they're not safe.
They're only not safe when they don't have a Republican on them.
Exactly. When it's not marked for Republican, that's when they're bad. And according to
everybody listening right now, just listen. They're already starting with the SAVE Act bullshit, and they're going to scream, well, we didn't pass the SAVE Act, and we either can't have elections this November, I'm waiting for that one, or we can't trust the elections. The Republicans are in the House, the Senate, the judiciary, sorry, my tongue-tiedness, and the presidency. They won them by elections. If they were not safe, how the fuck did they win?
And they won with mail-in ballots. So if they're not safe, how'd they win?
They're trying to sow doubt. They're trying to sow doubt right now because people are currently watching their life be stripped away from them. They can't afford things. They can't afford groceries. They can't afford gas. They can't afford electric. They can't afford water. They can't afford healthcare. They can't afford medicines. Like, can't afford clothes. Like, I'm going to keep going. You can't afford anything. It's like so hard to live. And people are looking at it, and Donald Trump is saying he doesn't want the price of housing to go down. Affordability is a scam that the Democrats came up with. Like, he's not worried about the housing crisis because he wants to make it harder to women to vote by passing the SAVE Act. Like,
exactly. And
I care about my life, but I also care about my neighbor's life. And here's the deal, which is very important. I think the biggest thing right now that I can say, and I'm not saying that it might not switch again in 10 years, and I'm so tired of hearing it was the Democrats that were the racists before. I agree, they were, and then it flipped. Woo! Now Republicans are a cult. So until it flips back, what I'm going to say is right now, you have the Democrats currently that are on the election, like that you get to vote for, right? All of these people are trying to make sure that everybody is allowed to vote. They're trying to say, you know what? I don't agree with your hate. I don't agree with your views of LGBT people. You don't like LGBT people? I don't agree with that. However, I believe you have the right to exist. You should still have your health care. You should still be allowed to get on social media and say whatever crap you want, as long as you're not harassing and intimidating other people. Okay, that's what the Democrats are saying on the bill, on our party lines. And right now the Republicans are saying, unless you look like me, unless you vote like me, unless you think like me, we don't care about you. And honestly, we're really going to care about our donors more still.
Exactly.
That is honestly, and you don't have to listen to my words, but I'm asking you to do research. I'm just asking you to look. Don't listen to talking heads. Turn off Fox, turn off News Nation, turn off Owen. Is that the other one? Hell, turn off CNN. Turn them off. I suggest people watch BBC, quite honestly. I personally like BBC because they're kind of giving you a little glimpse of everything. But turn off anything that you feel is putting you in an echo chamber and just look things up. Don't look up at, search words, Google words, just words. Just words. And Google it, because I have been educating people about the SAVE Act, right? Online. I'm explaining. And I have people that are coming up. You're lying. Every single word that I have written comes from the legislation. No, it doesn't. Here's the legislation. Here's the website. You look for yourself. Then they never come back at me. But they first come out swinging, telling me I'm lying. No.
Exactly, because people have been conditioned in the last couple years to believe that everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth or Ron DeSantis' mouth is facts and is law. And it is not, people. It is not.
And it is okay if you have voted Republican in the past, if you're a hardcore, listen, I've voted Republican my entire life. The Republican Party has left you. You did not leave the Republican Party. If you don't think your Black neighbor should not be allowed to vote, so basically you think your Black neighbor should have the same rights as you, that's not what the Republican Party is thinking right now. If you're thinking that your favorite waitress at your favorite restaurant, Maria, if you think Maria is great, you love tipping her, you're happy to hear about her children's stories because you've been going to that restaurant for 10 years and Maria has been your waitress, and you don't want Maria to be picked up by ICE and put in a detention center, then you need to start looking and listening and not just listening to talking heads. You need to look, you need to listen with your own eyes. And when I say look and listen and not listen to the talking heads, because I've just watched Fox News for this 250 rigmarole be on there with the screen rolling behind them, trying to tell them there's thousands of people standing behind them and there's nobody there. There's like 10 people and they're saying there's thousands. That's why I'm saying, look with your own eyes and listen. Look, are their words matching what you're seeing? And it is okay. It is okay to say that no longer suits me. And I've learned, I've become better. It's okay. And voting for a Democrat in an election is not going to make you a Democrat. It makes you not want to be under fascism. And I hate saying this because I know they like to call I don't know how we're communists and socialists all at one time, but okay, we're communists and we're socialists because the Republican Party likes to label the Democrats with these words. So if they want to do that, okay, fine, socialists, communists, if you say so, you're fascists. I'm not calling them names. I'm just using the same comparison they're giving us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you asked me how am I going to be different, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so I am going to listen to the people, and I am going to see what matters to them. I'm not going to be a rubber stamper. Yeah, this bill sounds good. Yep, but look at what your current representative has voted against and what they have voted for. Let that make your decision, because she has voted for some of the, excuse my language, stupidest shit that I have ever seen. And she has voted against people that matter. She has voted against people that matter in District 26. We need to get our heads out of our proverbial asses and do something. And to do something, you have to make your voices heard. And I am going to be that voice for you up in the House. And that's important. Now, the other thing that's important is, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be on the ballot in August. Why am I not going to be on the ballot in August? It's not because I'm not running. I'm still running. It's just I don't have a Democratic opponent in August. So guess what? I don't have to do a primary. I'm going straight to the general election, which I'm going to take on my opponent.
And who's your opponent?
I'll say her name, Nan Cobb. I'm going to take her on in November. And my goal is to beat her in November. My goal is to fight for every person that is in District 26.
And I want to say something specific about Nan Cobb, because I'm going to. I actually know somebody. I have a very good friend who has known Nan Cobb almost her entire life. And Nan Cobb is well aware that my friend is part of the LGBTQIA plus community. Nan Cobb says to my friend, I love you, I respect you. And then she votes against that. And my friend really thought she was going to be able to talk with Nan and be able to be like, listen, you see, we're humans. You know us. You see us. You see me bleed. But that is not what Nan followed. And once again, go look on her platform. Don't listen to what she says, because something that has been very, very evident since this last election is it seems that the Republicans are really good at saying, that's not my platform. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I stand for. However, when you go on their platform, that is.
Absolutely.
I'm going to give you an example. So, before the 2024 election, I was trying to educate a lot of people once again about Project 2025 and about how Project 2025 was the Republicans' playbook and that these were what they were going to be putting in place. First off, I was told I was crazy. I was nuts. I was told I was fear-mongering, all sorts of fun things I was told. But my favorite one I was told was, no, that was Kamala Harris's. So first off, I have no clue why Kamala Harris's platform would promote something that had Donald Trump's name in it 900 plus times.
Exactly.
But people would not stop, no matter how much facts I was giving them, no matter how much you can look and see the people on that Trump knew were going to be put in his cabinet and all these things were on Project 2025. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about it. Are we having fun living it? I'm not.
Nope, not at all.
Because cost of living's gone up. The big beautiful bill is taking away health care, and everybody should be scared to death that they just came out and said that they do not believe that citizens deserve community-based services. And if they believe that they are behavioral health issues, that they're going to institutionalize them.
Well, did you see what RFK said, Junior? He says that people with autism will never hold a job, will never pay taxes, and will never be part of society. They need to be institutionalized.
Yeah, I have autism and I worked as a nurse all the way up until 2023.
And I've met you. You're an amazing person. We've met in person.
My
And
my my trans daughter is autistic and she's an electrician.
they just want, they're trying to build their America the way they want their
Their
America.
perfect race.
Exactly. Exactly.
And what they think is if you put people that have these conditions in facilities, you will not be able to generate these conditions anymore, is what they believe. Which
Exactly.
they do not understand genetics very well, unfortunately, because it's like a crapshoot. Like one person might get it and the other one might not. Like I have two kids. One of my kids has autism, where you can tell, like it's a little bit more obvious. And the other one, I don't think I wouldn't say she's autistic, but does she have some minor things? Possibly, but it might just be a little bit of neurodivergence. But they were the same children raised by the same parents. And putting one away doesn't mean when my other one has a kid, it's not going to put it, you know what I mean? Like it wouldn't, like it can skip and then go.
Oh, absolutely. It's just
I'm
like
having a hard
twins.
time with words.
They can skip, twins can skip a generation.
Yes. So all those things. And that's why what Robyn is saying matters. And what she is saying is we need representation that is going to listen to your voice, that is going to look at you as a human being and say, you know what? Bob that lives over in Tavares, over near downtown, the historic district or the entertainment district. I think it's so cute. They call that the entertainment district. By the entertainment district, I think Bill, who voted for Ron DeSantis and voted for Nan Cobb, he just called me and I'm his representative and he's mad about something. I don't care that's who they voted for. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, Bob is now my constituent and I want this for Bob. That is what Robyn is talking about when she says she will be a representative for everybody. She's not going to say, oh, sorry, Bob, you voted for Nan. I don't give a shit.
Exactly. Exactly. And it doesn't matter whether you're Republican and whether you vote for me or you don't vote for me, whether you like me or whether you don't like me, whether you believe in what I say or whether you don't believe in what I say. I will represent you just like as if you were my neighbor, you were my friend, and that's exactly what you deserve. Everyone deserves representation in the House. And let me say this. We started this by talking about the fact that I am trans.
Yes.
And that I will be making history.
Yes.
Right? And that is true. I will make history because I will be the first trans person in the House of Representatives in the state of Florida. Okay? But don't get me wrong. It's not about me being the first. It's about my constituents not being last, not being thought of last, not being put last. I want my constituents up there. I want my constituents to have that voice in the House, and that's who I am. That's who I am. That is why I'm running, is I am going to be their voice in the House of Representatives. I'm going to be the one putting on the boxing gloves. It's funny, I have this card that I hand out to everybody, and it looks like this, and I'm wearing boxing gloves, and I am going to be the one up there fighting for you, whether you're Republican, whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're gay, whether you're lesbian, whether you're bisexual, whether you're trans. I don't care. I don't care if you're homeless, if you're handicapped. I'm going to be there fighting for you. Why? Because I believe in who you are. And I believe that everyone has the right to exist. And I believe everyone has the right to representation in the House of Representatives. And that's why I'm there. And that's why on November the 3rd, you need to vote Robyn Elaine Lawrence.
You are 100% correct. And I'm going to just jump in here real quick, and then I'm going to let her have a little thing where she can say whatever she wants for a couple minutes before we close this out. But I'm going to take it back to the top two. And I asked you to tell me about yourself. And you are making history, yes. But what that should mean for everybody else, and this is what I want people to really see, the bravery that it has taken for Robyn to come out as an openly trans individual in the state of Florida, to put herself out there, is no less than fucking heroic. And I'm going to say that honestly. I know for myself the amount of death threats I have received just for hosting this podcast. I have cameras all around the outside of my house, and unfortunately now I have cameras inside my house too. But it is what it is. But what she's telling you is she is willing to put herself out there. She is willing to put herself out in the light to be that punching bag. You're talking about putting the gloves on for other people. Bitch, you're the fucking punching bag taking the knocks for them. You're willing to put yourself out there and say, go ahead, hit me. Hit me with your best shot. Go for it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm proud of me. I'm proud of my people. And damn it, I'm going to give everybody a platform, because they don't need to look like me. They don't need to love like me. They don't need to think like me to deserve representation. But damn it, I'm going to be the person that's willing to stand up and put myself out there. And I'm just going to tell you, a lot of people think that heroes were born special, that they just come out with a hero. Ooh, oh shit, that was a little hard. An H hit on their forehead. That's not it. What makes a person a hero is an everyday person that when they see that there's a problem and they see that things are not right, they are willing to put themselves at risk, to be there, to stand up, to point it out, and to call it out. And it is important. It is important. And representation does matter, because in Florida, we, thank God, got Alligator Alcatraz taken down. It will be closed forever. That's another thing Trump said he was going to play for and didn't. So the all of us residents and taxpayers of Florida paid for that concentration camp, which is great. But it's everyday people, just like the bad people that do things. They didn't come out with a big V, villain, stamped on their head, right? They didn't. So it's really hard to see. But when you look at somebody that's willing to put herself out there and say, listen, I don't care. Say whatever you want about me. Call me whatever you want. I'm still going to be standing because I care about Joe. And I care about Lucy. And I care about Mary and Bob and Phil and Gerald. I don't know. I'm making up names now. That is important. And that's what makes you special, Robyn. Not that you're trans. I think you being trans is awfully special too. But I think when people, that's just one part of your identity. You're Robyn Lawrence and you just happen to be trans. But
exactly.
because of that, you know what it means to not be understood, to have people look at you different and not necessarily understand where you're coming from, but you're willing to fight for it. And if you want somebody that's willing to fight for you, you need somebody that was willing to fight for them. Now, I want you to close us out here, Robyn. I want you to go for 2 minutes, whatever. Just say everything that you want to say. This is your time. and then I will lead us out, but I want you to be able to give your elevator speech.
So again, like I said, I want to be your voice in the House of Representatives. I live in a community of 1,200 people right here where I live right now. And there are people that don't agree with me. There are people that make fun of me. I went down to play cards yesterday and pretty much was told I couldn't play basically because of who I am. I've had people that said, "Oh, we don't want trans people playing cards with us." I've been through that, right? Mm-hmm. I've had one guy here that has been, because when he found out I was trans, he liked me for a while until he found out I was trans. And then when he found out I was trans a few years ago, he decided I wasn't a good person anymore. And
because he was physically attracted to you.
And that's exactly what it is. And when I call him out on that, he keeps his mouth shut. But he constantly misgenders me. I did a video not too long ago about gas prices, and somebody said, "Oh, well, you can see your 5 o'clock shadow." Hello, Sherlock Holmes. You used to be a man. I was in a male body, but thanks for pointing that out, because guess what? I brought that out a long time ago. I live in Lake County. I live in Lake County. And I've lived here for 4 years. And nobody's known anything about me, basically, outside of this community that I live in, 1,200. But when I go to the store, I'm a female. When I go to Walmart, I'm a female. I go to the women's restroom. I go, and now I put myself out there, and most people look at me and say, "I had no idea. I had no idea you were trans." I go to Starbucks. I had no idea you were trans. But it doesn't make you any different. You're still Robyn. You still come in and order the same drink that you did before. And that's exactly the point. I am who I am, and I am standing up for people, and I am putting myself out there. Does that make me a hero? I don't think so. Does that make me brave? I don't think so. It makes me human. It makes me care about people. Thank you for saying I'm brave. Thank you for saying I'm a hero, but I don't see it that way. I see that I am a human being that cares about other people. And those people are constituents, and those people are the ones that are going to vote in November. And those people are the ones that are either going to vote for me or vote against me, right? Those people are either going to be with me when I make history, or they're going to be against me when I make history. But one way or another, and I've already made history by being the very first trans person from Lake County, let's face it.
Yes.
But it's not about making history. It's about making people seen. It's about
making people's lives better.
People's lives better. It's about making sure that people have the right to vote. People have the right to live. People have the right to affordable health care. People have the right to affordability. People have the right to make a decent wage. We didn't even get into that part of it.
No.
People have the right to live in a community that they care about, a community that is viable, a community that takes care of itself. People have the right, RIGHT, right. You have rights, people. And for people to take that away, like DeSantis and Trump and whoever else is trying to take it away, that is ridiculous. You need to stand up. You need to stand up and say, I want to be counted. I want to be in that number. I want to be the person that helps. And again, I used to be a minister. I've got my minister license, so this is coming out on me. But you have to live in this community. And I have to live in this community. And the people that vote in this community have to live in this community. Do you want somebody that cares about you? Or do you want somebody that only cares about you 3 months out of the year when they're making laws? Or do you want somebody that's going to be there every single day when you call? Guess what is on my cards? My phone number. Guess what my phone number is going to be in 6 months? Guess what my phone number is going to be in a year? The same phone number that people have right now on these cards. I don't hide who I am. I came out as transgender. I came out as a person that cares about other people. Excuse me. I came out to be your representative. I came out to be the person to represent you and be your voice in Tallahassee, in the Florida House of Representatives. And I came out to be the person that you're going to send in November up to Tallahassee. And that's who I'm going to be. And that's who I want to be. So when November comes, November 3rd, when you go to the polls, think about, what are my rights worth? What are my freedoms worth? What is my affordable health care worth? What is groceries worth to me? Is it worth putting somebody in the Florida House that cares about me? Yes. And that should be your answer. Yes, it's worth it. It's worth it to have somebody that cares about us, that cares about our representation, and that won't take advantage of us because they want to rubber stamp what the governor says. They want to rubber stamp what the president says. We need somebody in Tallahassee, in the House of Representatives, that will stand up and say, I am who I am, and I am here for you.
I love that. And I'm going to piggyback on that, because one of the things that I want to bring up is there's a lot of people that will go out and vote in national elections. People seem to really think it matters who the president is. And quite honestly, clearly it does. But what matters even more than that is local elections. And you want to know why? Because our local elections is who we have in place to push back when bad legislation happens. And when maybe nationally something crazy is going on, there are other states that are not having to deal with as much of the fallout of some of these policies, because their state is put there and they have the strength to push back because they elected leaders at their local level that wants the rights for everybody. There are some great Republicans out there. I'm not saying there's not. Do I think they're really left in the current Republican Party as people? I'm sure there's some great ones. I just don't see them using their voice very loudly to push back, is all I'm going to say. But I'm not going to say that they're not great people. I'm just going to say maybe they're timid. But every single person watching this, you have a voice. And your voice is your vote. No, you are not going to be the person in that room with DeSantis, Jolly, whoever it might be. You're going to choose your representative to be there. Now, you can choose a person who's 100% authentic. Somebody who says, this is me, this is who I am proud to be that. I am not going to be anyone other than who I am. That is Robyn. Robyn is coming out. She's saying, this is who I am, warts and all, take it or leave it. I am here for you. Or you can have somebody that says, I like to get into the same culture wars you do, but at the end of the day, when the governor is agreeing with the insurance companies for homeowners insurance, that we don't need to have our residents of Florida with homeowners insurance. Are they living authentically, or are they being bought and paid for? Nothing could shut Robyn up. If somebody had tried to give Robyn $1 million to not be trans, it wasn't going to change who Robyn was.
No.
And there are people out there that might think, oh, I don't know, I couldn't be trans. Well, there's a reason you can't be trans. You're not. It's okay.
It's not a choice, people.
Like, she didn't wake up and be like, damn
wake
it.
up and mate. I didn't wake up one morning and said, oh, I think I want to be transgender. Right. It doesn't work that way, people.
So
I
that
want
is
to
why, if
ask.
you don't understand that mentality, it's okay. It's because you're not trans and it's cool. And guess what? I don't fucking care about football. It's because I don't love football. I don't need to. I am me. I can still be flesh and blood and not like the same things you like,
And
but
this is
still
the
believe
thing.
you have the right to think the way you do.
Exactly. And I want to go back to, this is a grassroots campaign. Okay. So we are powered by you, the people. So I'm going to ask Laura if she will pop up my QR code on here for my
It's going to be
Act
all
Blue,
over.
and it doesn't matter how much you donate. You can donate any amount you want: $5, $10, $15, $20. It doesn't matter. And then I'm also going to say this. I want her to pop up my website. It's vote the number 4 robynlawrence.com. Vote the number 4 robynlawrence.com. And I want her to, if you're concerned about, oh, I don't know who my representatives are because of all this gerrymandering,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to put on jointhebluewave.org, and I will send that to you.
Mm-hmm.
Jointhebluewave.org was created by Dan Williams, and
Okay.
all your candidates are on there. And you can actually go on there and find out who your state representative is, who your congressional is, who your Senate representative is, and who your governor is. Okay. So you can find all those right there at jointhebluewave.org. And I'm only saying that not to promote jointhebluewave.org, but to say that if you're confused about who your representative is because of the way they have done these gerrymanderings and changed the districts, that will get, you can put your address in it and it will take you all the way down to your commissioners, believe it or
Mm-hmm.
not.
Oh, that's awesome.
So use that website. I'm going to ask Laura to put that up here in a little while. Along with my website and along with my QR code. Please, folks, if you believe in change, if you believe in what I'm doing, donate, because that's how we get yard signs. That's how we get
I was just going to ask you,
literature.
how can they get a yard sign?
So all you got to do is go to my website, send me an email. My email is on there. It's Robyn Lawrence 2026 at gmail.com. Robyn Lawrence 2026 at gmail.com. And let me know. And if you're in the area, I'll bring you a yard sign. For free. They're free. You don't have to pay for them. Laura's got one.
I do. Don't worry, it'll be on my picture too. I'll pop it up there so you can see it. I have her and Dan out front of my house right now. I have Ronnie's and Eric Yancey's over here behind me. I need to get metal poles for theirs to go in my yard.
I
only
got you.
have 2.
I'll get you a couple metal poles. I have some.
But I am also the only house with any political signs in my neighborhood too. That means it's pretty apolitical. But I live in a very multicultural neighborhood. When John and I moved this last time, one of the things we realized is we had been primarily in a lot of neighborhoods that looked a lot like us and that were not very diverse. So one of the things that we did this last time when we moved, we literally drove around to try to find a neighborhood that was diverse, but we would also feel comfortable in it. Because I'm a loud, proud advocate, I want to be the change, but you have to be the change safely also. I don't want anybody putting themselves into unsafe circumstances, and hence why I won't do it either. But I can be here, be safe, put all my rainbow shit out there, have all my trans crap out there, and I am making a difference here in Lake County safely.
Exactly.
But I'm making a difference by being seen. And what those signs do, let me explain to you what a sign does. Okay. What that sign does is, let's say your neighbor, Susie, right? She's not very political. That's what you hear a lot of people say. But the reason Susie's not political is she's working 3 jobs and trying to take care of 2 kids. She barely has time to think about what she's going to eat for dinner, let alone who she's voting for, right? But Susie knows you. Susie knows who you are. She knows your heart. She knows who you are. So Susie is going to go vote. And Susie sees Robyn's sign in your yard. For the next 2 months, she sees her sign in your yard. When she goes to vote and she's standing there in line and she looks down, she sees Robyn Lawrence. Oh, you know what? My neighbor, who is wonderful, treats me well, treats everyone well, likes Robyn Lawrence. You know what? I'm going to vote for them. So believe it or not, that is a subliminal message to people. It allows them to see, oh, you like that person. Like for me, I live in a very multicultural neighborhood, right? I do have one of those signs out there that JD Vance says isn't Christian, which says like in this house, like we basically love you, like no matter what. Not quite sure how that's not Christian because which I'm not religious, but you used to be a minister. But I thought the whole Bible part was to love everybody and like be happy and all that crap. But he literally somehow said that goes against the doctrine of Catholicism, apparently having a sign that says in this house, we don't care if you're black, white, whatever. Like, women's rights are human rights. Vaccines are save lives. Science is real. Like he thinks that's weird. But when you have something like that, I have that out there. My neighbors know me, right? So my non-white neighbors also know me, know who I am. They see the signs in my yard. So if they didn't have time to research, they know my heart and they know when they're going to vote. If that's who I'm voting for somebody that's going to have their back too.
Absolutely.
So that's what those signs mean. And that's why I'm encouraging you. You might be apolitical. Your community might be apolitical, but you never know what one sign is going to do. And Robyn will give it to you free because it's grassroots. They're not trying to make money.
Exactly. We're not trying to make money. We're paying for this from donations from individuals, not companies, not PACs. We're doing this. I had to pay to get on the ballot. Did you know that? $1,781.82 just to bring it down to it. And it all came from donations from individuals that believe in what I'm doing and that knows that we need change. So,
and you can be that change. You can help usher in that change. And
absolutely.
You can change by who you vote for.
Exactly. Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's starting to storm here bad.
Yeah. We live in the same area, so we're both looking at the sky. I'm like going like this, going, oh my God. So I'm going to close it out. But I want to thank Robyn for being on here. And I want to thank you for not only giving us a sneak peek into who you are, but thank you for your time to explain why representation matters, why what we're living through needs representation, and how to have your voice heard is by who you vote for. And each person every day has the choice when they wake up to make the same decisions they did yesterday or to make new decisions. And once again, if you've never voted before, if you've never taken time to get out and vote in those local elections, it matters. Your voice matters. If you are one of those marginalized communities, if you love someone in those marginalized communities, you need to vote for the marginalized communities.
Absolutely. I have two statements I want to make real quick. One is Audrey Hepburn is one of my favorite people. And she says, nothing is impossible. The word actually says, I'm possible. And this is possible. It is possible that we are going to change the way that we're represented in November. I am possible. I am your candidate. The other thing is this, right? To do the same thing over and over and over. Einstein said this, do the same thing over and over and over and expect a different outcome is insanity. if you continue to vote for the people that you've voted for over and over and expect things to change, it's insanity. It's not going to happen. So it is time to change. It is time to change when it comes to the governor. It's time to change when it comes to the Congress. It is time to change when it comes to the Senate. And it is time to change when it comes to the House of Representatives. So
and it's not too late.
Change. And it's not too late. It's not too late.
Hitler came down. Germany fell. That crap fell. We have it in us. But the only way to take back our country,
make your voice heard, and your voice is your vote.
You have to take back the country, and we do that with local representation, because that is our line of defense against the rich and powerful.
And
it does matter. It does matter.
It's going to be August the 18th, voting in the primaries. Again, I'm not going to be in the primaries because I don't have one. I go to the general. But August the 18th is your first primary, your first chance to take back, right?
And you have to be registered as a Democrat in order to vote in the Democratic primaries.
Yes.
In Florida.
You cannot be registered as an independent or a Republican and still vote Democrat. You can't do that. You can't
not in the primaries.
The general election. In the primaries, you have to vote what you're registered. So
and it's very, 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 very important. Because when people don't vote in the primaries, that's how we get the janky candidates.
Exactly. So
I'm calling him a janky. I don't know how else to say it.
You only have so long to change your representation. So you need to look at today, how am I registered? Get a hold of the supervisor elections. How am I registered? Am I registered as an independent? And do I want to vote Democrat? Am I registered as a Republican, but really want to vote Democrat and want change? Then you need to get that changed now. You only have so long.
And remember, just having it changed on a voter roll does not take away who you are your entire life.
Exactly. And then if you want to change back, then fine. Change back to being an independent. Because in the general election, you can vote either way. You can vote Democrat if you're an independent. You can vote Democrat if you're a Republican. But in the primary, August the 18th, remember that date, August the 18th. It's important to remember that date because that's your first line of defense against this regime that we are in. And let's face it, that's what it is. It's a regime.
It is a regime. And it is. And we have to call it that because trying to hide it, trying to whitewash it is not making it any better.
Nope. And Laura, thank you again for having me. I appreciate everything you do on here. I appreciate every bit of you. And I actually would love to meet your daughter someday. And I want to get
for you to meet my daughter. I would love to get my daughter back in the state of Florida so all my friends could meet her. The craziest thing is I became she was going to school to be an electrician when I really started becoming an advocate, an activist, I guess. And because of that, she was so busy going to school and working. And then she moved out of the state of Florida. None of my trans friends have even met my daughter. How crazy is that?
We need to fix that. And the way we fix that is we get somebody in the house that cares.
Bring my daughter back to Florida.
Cares and wants to bring people like your daughter back to Florida. Thank you again for having me. I love you so much.
I love you, Robyn. Once again, thank you. And everybody listening, in order to live your life out loud, you need to be willing to do the hard work. And the hard work we're asking you to do right now is to vote on August 18th. That's the hard work we're asking you to do now, is vote on August 18th for the morality that you want to see. take the R's and the D's and the I's off of everything and just look at the platform, please.
Look at your people.
Look
Look
at
at the
platform.
people running. Look at what they stand for. Look at what they've done for you and where they are right now and who they care about. Take the R, take the D, take the I away, and look at individuals. Look at
Because you're an individual. And that's how
exactly,
you should vote as an individual.
exactly.
So
August 18th, November 3rd. Remember, November 3rd, Robyn Lawrence, and that's who you want in the House.
100%. So thank you guys. Until next time, don't forget to
Bye.
live your life out loud.
Bye.